So I was thinking, listening to our introduction for the last several episodes, I feel like they're kind of all over the place. I was thinking we need a more structured introductions for our podcast, and I have a few ideas if you're open to hearing about them.
Yeah.
So number one is maybe we could share smaller joyful thing that we don't want to talk about for like multiple minutes at a time, just like little things or zero thing.
Yeah.
That's one idea. Another idea is we could talk about something that we like learned or just something that's interesting from the past week. That's not like a joyful thing, but just like an interesting thing. And number three, and hear me out, this is radical, but something that we want to rant about that's not joyful.
Well, then that's not this podcast thing.
Does that go against the ethos of the podcast? Okay.
Scratch the last one.
All right, well, scratch that one off. So do you want to give me something? Give me something interesting.
I think the first one would be we have this Van Gogh themed calendar, and it turns out to be the October version of that painting. It's really, really nice. It looks like a very foresty backyard with flowers and houses and paths. I really like that. I only like the Starry Night.
Starry Night, yeah.
Yeah, but I like this one too.
Okay, this is our new mini podcast within our podcast called Yuna's Art Corner.
Maybe next time I should buy the Monet painting.
Well, don't say that in front of the Van Gogh calendar. He'll get jealous.
Sorry, Van Gogh.
You know, one thing, okay, hang on. This is going to be a side thing now, but because we went to this like Van Gogh and Monet exhibits both.
Yeah, the immersive experience.
Yeah, it's like immersive experience kind of thing where you go in this giant, it's kind of like a 360 degree room where they just show paintings of
with the sound, video and picture and smell.
Well, hold on. They made the claim. They made the claim that there was a smell. I would contest that personally.
Maybe we're just not cultured enough.
Our noses are just not cultured enough. Our olfactory. No, what I was going to say is that I actually gained a lot of like respect and like admiration for Van Gogh because he had such a troubled life.
I know.
Like his, famously, but we learned a bit more about it. And it's like, it kind of, to me, like it makes the different eras of his painting like very evocative. But then when we learned about Monet, from what I could tell, he was just like some like rich kid who just like painted a bunch and then was rich and then died happy. What kind of artist is that?
Why artist needs to be miserable?
I
and
need
poor?
Misery in my art or I'm not going to enjoy it.
Why? What's wrong with you?
This is why I'm not an artist. I'm just too joyful and too happy.
Yeah.
And this has been Matt's Art Corner. We've got 2 podcasts in our introduction now.
Very cynical.
Hey, this is Matt.
And this is Yuna.
And this is Our 3 Things, a podcast about joyful things. And we are back for another week of talking about things that brought us joy in this past week.
Yeah.
And it should be fun. I actually wanted, before we jump into it though, I wanted to just quickly bring up a listener mail that I got that was pretty interesting. So this is from our friend Scott. I say friend. I don't know who he is, but he's now our friend. He's friend of the show. You've been upgraded automatically, Scott, to friend of the show status.
Yeah.
But it's referencing an episode a few episodes back where I talked at length about Terrace House, Boys and Girls in the City, an amazing Japanese reality TV show.
Yeah, our episode 11.
Yeah, so he says, I enjoyed your episode on Terrace House. You're probably well behind Aloha State at this point. I'm actually not. We've been watching too many other TV, which we'll talk about this episode. But it's still on my radar. But he goes on to say, it's generally regarded as the worst of the 5 series, but all the series are great in my opinion. Then he actually goes on to talk about some ways to listen or to watch Boys and Girls Next Door, which is the original series from Japan. So it's like the one before the Netflix available ones.
Yeah.
So he mentions some places to actually get reliable English subtitles to watch, which I'll definitely check those out. And he also brought up something that I was curious if you had heard of, Yuna, which is a Chinese version of Terrace House called... I don't know what the Chinese name is, but in English it's Shanghai Share Life.
So the Chinese name would be 同一屋檐下, under the same roof.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually I was wondering, okay, well maybe like they just took the format that was popular and someone made it themselves in China, but actually it was Fuji TV, who is like the makers of the Terrace House series.
Yeah.
They decided not to make Terrace House after a very unfortunate event that happened during the production of the final season of Terrace House, which was Tokyo 2019-2020, which I think is also on Netflix. So I'll watch that eventually too. But Fuji TV entered into a strategic partnership with Youku, which is like the Chinese streaming service.
Yeah.
It's like the version of YouTube.
A version of YouTube.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of.
I guess there's differences because they have like produced content as well, like TV shows
so
and
it's
stuff.
like combination mix of Netflix and YouTube because they have their own content.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to check this out. Maybe we can watch that together.
Yeah, this only have 15 episodes for the season 1 of Share Life.
Okay,
Shanghai.
cool. Yeah, so then we can. Looks like it's a pretty brisk watch. We can go through it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Scott, for reaching out about that, and we'll definitely check out this the Chinese version as well. I was asking you before, like, does China have a lot of reality shows that are on the same like level or the same format, I guess, as things like Terrace House or even like the reality, like the American shows like Beverly Hills and all that? But it doesn't seem as popular.
Yeah, I didn't know about before until you mentioned because I think the reality show, like the singing one and the acting one, would be more popular, and traveling one and the kids one.
Oh yeah.
So they live together.
A lot of those ones from what I've seen from watching you like watch the other like the variety shows and stuff is it's more like celebrities doing stuff. Whereas I think something like this might be interesting to see because like
regular people like you and me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's one thing I like about the Terrace House series just in general is that it actually does show like how young Japanese adults in like the modern world interact in a pretty realistic way, I think. Yeah. So maybe that could be the similar for the
maybe
the show.
That could be. We could have a look because I do like Shanghai and I do like to visit as well. So
I'd love to go back to Shanghai. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
Oh, the food, the
one
scenery.
Day.
One day we can go back.
All right. Well, now I'm getting like wistful and nostalgic. So let's jump into current joyful things. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
So Yuna, what is your first thing this week?
So my first thing this week actually happened last week. Is the Wagyu beef barbecue we had last weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us about that.
So
remind me of that. My mouth is watering again thinking about it. But tell our listeners about that.
Okay, so the reason like we thought of thinking having this Wagyu beef Korean barbecue is because during lockdown we did this one of fine dining at home thing from a restaurant called Chocho-san. It's a Japanese fusion modern restaurant, and one of the dish they had is teriyaki Wagyu beef.
It's like a teriyaki Wagyu.
Yeah, teriyaki Wagyu beef. We cook it home and with the sauce and beef, and it's just so juicy, tender, tasty. Mm-hmm. And that just makes me want to eat more Wagyu beef. Yeah. And then me and Matt talking, we haven't eaten the Korean barbecue for a while.
Yeah.
I have never had a nice Wagyu Korean barbecue beef.
Have you really
outside?
Haven't? Really?
No, not outside.
Even at like the restaurants, the Korean barbecue restaurants?
I had that in those like fine dining one.
Really?
Not the regular Wagyu beef one.
Oh, okay. You can get them at when they're open again here. Like if we go to the Korean barbecue places here, like 669.
Yeah, because 6689.
689.
What's 669? 678.
6698.
678.
996. Wait, no, that's something else.
No, it's 678.
678. There we go.
Yeah.
Apologies to our not a sponsor 678 barbecue.
I have never been. Oh no, actually I've been once.
We went together.
Oh yes, we did.
It has been too long we've been in this house in lockdown, I think. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So normally when we're out for Korean barbecue, right? I remember like our friends or ourselves, we just normally order the marinated meat.
Yeah.
And we love to order like pork belly. But it doesn't occur to me we ever ordered Wagyu beef.
I mean, it is expensive, like when you're in a big group.
Oh, that's true. And then since I had a very nice taste of Wagyu beef cooking at home from Chocho-san, I said, I'm going to get nice Wagyu beef and just do the barbecue myself. And I've been looking around. I even thinking of buying a set, the Wagyu beef set from a Korean barbecue place, but it's so expensive. The whole thing costs like $100 just
Yeah.
for all the meat. And then I was thinking, well, since this is the first time we do the Wagyu beef Korean barbecue at home, I will not waste $100 on some restaurant. So we decided, okay, since we leave our area, we have a lot of Korean butcheries. Let's just shop around. And then we went to like a new butchery in our area, and they happen to have lots of Wagyu beef.
They had actually a good selection just in general.
I know.
Like we're really spoiled for choice, I think, when it comes to that in our area.
And they even have like marinated Wagyu beef.
Yeah, I think we need to try that. You need to try
Yeah.
that next time, yeah.
We need to try that next time. So we bought the non-marinated one together with some marinated bulgogi pork belly, I think.
We got some pork belly and then the marinated bulgogi pork.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the unmarinated Wagyu beef,
Just
which
like
the
the
shop owner recommended to us.
The really high grade, like thin sliced.
Yeah.
Really marbled with the fat.
Yes.
It was really good.
It was really good. And the shop owner didn't lie. She said you just only need to barbecue this and put salt and pepper, and that'll be great.
And she was right.
And she was right. I didn't even use salt and pepper. I used the sesame oil. So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that turns out to be a very good experience. We had the barbecue in our balcony with the park as background. It's actually very pleasant experience, and turns out to be not that expensive to have that yourself.
Yeah, what's nice about that too is the place that we go to buy, like just in the supermarket, like right next to where the butchery is, they have, because I guess we have a lot of like population of both Chinese and Korean here that like to eat like that, which that's thankful for that, because they have like the pre-packaged little boxes of all the side dishes.
They have all these side dishes.
Yeah, like for anyone who hasn't gone to Korean barbecue before, you need to try and fix that as soon as you can, because it's amazing, like to go in a group. But what they generally do is like, as just part of the experience, like you don't really order them, they just sort of give it to you usually.
It's free.
They just
Unlimited
have
side dishes.
like, I mean, I've seen as many as like, a dozen or even like 2 dozen. There's like little tiny bowls of just like little stuff to eat with the meat.
Kimchi radish.
There's like kimchi radish,
kimchi cabbage, squid,
fermented like beans,
mashed potato salad.
Yeah, it's if you're not used to that kind of cuisine, it can seem a little weird. Like there's like a very strange variety of stuff, but like seriously, just try it. It's like the whole experience.
That brings me like curiosity, right? Is Korean barbecue popular in US?
In the U.S., in certain parts of the country, I know like Los Angeles is like pretty well known for having like amazing Korean barbecue places. Like I went
same barbecue as Sydney, because Sydney's so popular.
It's probably like, I mean, if you go to like the best places in both, it's probably on par. Like it's similar, I think.
Okay.
Actually, I think that was the first time I ever had Korean barbecue. Come to think of it, was like when I moved to the West Coast, and because I grew up in Texas, where they probably have it. They definitely have it by now. But I just like wasn't exposed to that stuff as much. But when I moved to California, and I was like on a business trip or something, we were in LA and like Santa Monica area. Yeah. And we all went out as like a group to a really nice Korean barbecue place for us. I think someone's birthday on the team. And that was the first time I'd really had it. And like my mind was like blown. Like that was like, there's a few experiences in my life that are like sort of eye-opening in terms of food. Yeah. That's one of them for sure. Like that was like that moment I remember. Yeah. Because I just remember like all the little bowls of stuff, and I had no idea what it was.
Well, how did you eat all of them?
And I just, because I'll try it. I'll try like any food.
Try everything,
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just to go back to so like when we had this at home the other day, the shop that we bought the meat from like also has all those little things like prepackaged, so we can just get what we want.
And like
easy as.
And then we found a very nice, tasty Korean kimchi, because we had a bad experience before, but this one, it's so good, and I think the brand is called Jeonju or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like, I guess it's probably a Korean one imported, I'm guessing.
It says made in South Korea. And you know what? If you have good quality, tasty Korean kimchi that is not too salty, it's just right balanced flavor, and you eat that together with the barbecue meat, any barbecue meat, it just elevates
especially
the flavor.
The pork, I think, is the best way.
It's pretty nice when you eat with the pork belly. It's just so good.
I'm hungry now again for that. Well, we'll do that again soon.
We'll do that again soon.
It's actually not that expensive, really. Like if it's just 2 people,
Yeah, if just 2 people and you want to get the meat you want, it's okay. Yeah. It's like you're going out to have a dinner for two at a restaurant.
I mean, it's like if you're gonna like, a lot of people will just like order like, you know, some Thai food for like takeaway. Like you could easily pay like similar amounts for just like some meats to cook at home.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but the things like you gotta
maybe
have
not for
this,
the wagyu, maybe not for the wagyu beef, but for everything else.
Oh yeah. But if you have this, you gotta have the Korean barbecue equipment.
You don't really need that much. So like all we have is basically like a little griddle. Like you just use an electric griddle. That's all we have. It's the same thing I would cook a pancake
That's
on.
True. Yeah, you can use that.
Yeah. Super easy.
Yeah. So that's my first joyful thing. What about you, Matt?
So my first joyful thing this week is a TV show coming to Netflix in October, and this is super meaningful for me. So it's they brought Seinfeld to Netflix starting in October, which for us was yesterday, and I've pretty much already binged through the first 2 seasons just in the background while I'm doing other stuff. And this is one of my favorite sitcoms, probably. Oh man, it's probably still number 1. I think.
Still a number 1.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you haven't watched much of it.
So what's the classification of sitcom for you?
I mean, it's like what it sounds like, right? Situation comedy. So like anything where there's like a group of characters and they get themselves in situations per episode that usually will get resolved by the end of the episode, and there's just humor and funny and like, you know, in like the 80s and 90s there was like a lot of like laugh tracks, but nowadays there's less of that.
Is the new one like saying never ever have I ever? Is that sitcom?
I would say never have I ever is. I mean the line is kind of blurred nowadays, right? That's the thing. So this is a good point actually, because I feel like maybe I would say something like Friends or like The Office kind of stretches this a little bit too. But like that early kind of 2000 stuff is like the last time that it's like just a true straightforward like situation comedy.
What about like Mindy's Project? That's pretty sitcom.
Mindy Project is sort of too. A lot of them have like very dramatic through lines as well. Like even Friends really, like you have these ongoing storylines of who's going with who and like the Ross and Rachel thing, right?
Yeah.
To me, the reason that I love Seinfeld so much is kind of similar to like if anyone knows the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Is it's kind of a similar version of Seinfeld, except just like more quote unquote modern and also like way over the edge in terms of like graphicness and crude humor. The thing that I love about Seinfeld so much is it's a very pure show. And by that I mean not that the characters themselves are pure, because over time you'll see, if you watch it with me, you'll see they're actually pretty terrible people. But
they're terrible people.
But the show is pure in the sense that like it's every episode, you know, it's from the era of like just watching on TV, like before streaming, right?
Yeah.
Because this was I think the first episode was actually in 1989. Actually July 1989. So the show was older than me by a few months.
1989.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know they're 25-minute episodes, so they're pretty short, self-contained, and the characters don't really grow as like people. Like they don't like learn from the things they do wrong and like become better people. But I mean the show, like over the span of 9 seasons, it never runs out of steam in my opinion, because the writing is the strength of the show. The writing's
really good.
The acting can be hit or miss, especially from the main character, Jerry Seinfeld, who's like a famous comedian.
Yeah.
And like he's sort of like he's like the face of the show, and like it's named after him.
Yeah.
I think the show was like originally it was sort of because he's a stand-up comedian who was known for like his clean material like back in the day. And so the show was sort of supposed to like, I think the idea of it was to show like how a comedian gets their material. So like especially like the first few seasons, the actual show, like the storyline of the show is interrupted at like 3 or 4 times by him doing like stand up in a club. And it's just like his character is also a comedian, just like him in real life.
His character is also comedian.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same name as him too. Like it's basically based. It's supposed to be originally based off of like his life, but they realized very quickly that like the supporting characters around him were sort of like the strength of the show because of the situations they would get themselves in.
Yeah.
And so like eventually they dropped the whole thing of him doing like stand up midway through the show, and like they just explored these different, just ridiculous situations everyone kind of finds themselves in. Yeah. It's a hard show to describe, honestly, because it's a self-proclaimed show about nothing. Yeah. Meaning that like... A
show about nothing.
Like there's a whole episode, for example, where... this is one of the early episodes where like one of the characters, Jerry's friend George, is trying to like get back at his or sorry, no, not George, his neighbor Kramer is trying to get back at like this local laundromat guy because the guy like didn't give him his change or something.
Okay.
And so he enacts this whole plan to like sabotage the washing machine by like pouring concrete in the washer.
Yeah.
And like he ends up getting caught and like everything like happens and he has to end up paying for it. And that's like the story. That's like the main story of the show, of that episode.
Okay.
Of just that episode. And it never comes up again. Like they don't like revisit that. It's just like something that happens in the...
Okay.
And so like most episodes are very self-contained. They're hilarious. Like the writing just hits me somewhere. And I think we should watch it at some point so you can kind of like maybe understand. They actually have Chinese subtitles, which could be helpful.
Yeah.
But there is a deeper reason why I'm happy that this is on Netflix and I can rewatch it. And that's because it's like reminds me of my mom quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
you watched together for that?
Yeah. So like like I said, like the show first came out like just before I was born, basically. And so my mom got super into it when I was really young.
Yeah.
And as I was growing up, we would like watch it together, like when I was a kid, because it's like a clean show. Like it's fine for kids for the most part.
Okay.
They do have like some, I guess, sexual content, not in terms of like nudity or anything like that, but like they talk about that kind of stuff, like in sort of just like a here's how life is like kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like pretty clean, I think. They don't like, there's not like a lot of cursing or anything like that. So it was okay for me to watch as a kid. So we would watch that when I was growing up. And then even like after the show ended, which was in like 1998, it's one of those shows that like you would continuously just see like reruns of constantly. This was before streaming was big again, right? So like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, if you just watch like a over the air channel, you on any given night, you'd probably see like a rerun of Seinfeld at some point. Okay. Yeah. And so like me and my mom would just always kind of have it on and watch it. Yeah. And it's, if you've watched it that much, you tend to like, it's a very quotable show. Like there's lots of quotes from it that like out of context. Yeah. If someone's never watched it and you quoted it, they would have no idea. Like it's not like a joke. They wouldn't get the joke. Oh, okay. It wouldn't make any sense. Right. But it's someone who knows the show. Yeah. Like it kind of calls back to a funny moment in the show that like the situation they were in. Okay. Right. And like, so it'd be like, it's more like an inside joke kind of thing. Right. And me and my mom used to drive my stepdad and my sister both absolutely crazy because me and my mom would just like quote the show to each other. Oh, really? Like all the time, like out of context. And they would be like, we don't know what you're talking about. Like, because your sister and stepdad didn't watch the show? Yeah, because they weren't fans of the show. But me and my mom like loved this show. Okay. And so, how come they don't watch it when we leave? I don't know, actually. That's a good question. Yeah. If either of you are listening right now, send us an email and let me know, or just message me on Facebook. Okay. Maybe let us know why you never watched it, because inquiring minds want to know. Yeah. But yeah, so it's one of those things. Like even like nowadays, if like I'm just like messaging my mom or something. Yeah. Like we'll still quote the show to each other sometimes. Like actually, I told her yesterday, hey, if you didn't know, like Seinfeld is up on Netflix now. Yeah. And she immediately responded like, oh, I know, I've been watching it. Oh, your like, mom's watching that too? Within like a day of it going up. Like, and we hadn't talked about it before, so that just to show you, yeah. So it's a show that on just a purely objective level, I find hilarious. It's memorable. It's one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, just because of the writing is like top notch. Yeah. But then on that deeper level, it reminds me of like it's like a very close relationship kind of thing in my family. So. So it's nice to have it back up. The other thing too is like it's impossible to like find it streaming anywhere. I think it was on Stan, which is like an Australian streaming service. No, it's not. It used to be. Really? Yeah, it's like when I first moved to Australia and I was getting a little homesick, I was trying to find out ways to watch it. Oh, really? Watch Seinfeld? Yeah. And it was back then, this was a few years ago, it was on Stan, which is one of the streaming service here. Yeah. It might not be now. Maybe they took it down since then. I saw Stan's from like US, because that's where I found to watch Friends. I don't think Stan is a US streaming service though. I think it's an Australian that tries to just have US shows on it. Right. Okay. So yeah, that might have been why Friends. But since then, Netflix has now had both Friends and Seinfeld. They've worked out that licensing. Yeah. Which is kind of making Netflix. I didn't think they could get better, but they've just been getting better and better. I think they get better. That, yeah. And also with their original shows. And I have to say, Netflix has the best streaming service. It does. I think it's the best one. It has the best user interface. We've been using so many. Okay, can we go on a side rant about that? Sorry, you're gonna agree with me on this. I just want to make sure that we discuss it. What? Why can no streaming service except Netflix master the go back 30 seconds button on the app?
No streaming service.
Like when we're watching like on Binge or whatever, or even Disney, even Disney Plus
that's what
can't
I'm saying.
do it.
That's what I'm saying. So Netflix just master the user experience so well, so smooth. It's so easy to find the subtitles and next episode, and to go forward, backwards, and you can even have floating window when you try to use the other apps on your phone.
Specifically, the go back though is what I'm talking about.
I know.
Everything else you're saying is great.
Disney failed.
Amazon Prime
failed. I don't have Amazon Prime.
It sucks. It's the same as Disney. Like the button is to go back 10 seconds.
Yeah, and do you know what's funny? When we're watching the stuff on Binge, we're trying to find the subtitles. It took us a while.
I had to look up a guide to try and find subtitles. You have to like swipe it's a whole mess.
It's ridiculous. And you know what's funny? When we tried to watch the next episode, not Netflix, in Binge, I couldn't find the next episode.
And it doesn't auto go, does it? Or is that Disney?
It does auto go.
I think Disney Plus had an issue with that.
Disney Plus has really weird big dollar recommendation for your next show after you finish your episode. I have no idea how they calculate that.
I just don't understand. Strange. Like and Netflix was like one of the first of these, and it's still the best.
Maybe
I don't get it.
I think maybe because it's very expensive investment for user experience.
Do you know how much money Disney Plus or Disney as a company has? Disney owns the world basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
They can afford it.
But probably Disney is confident. Disney Plus is confident enough. Like, we don't need great user experience. We just need to have great content. So they're trying to save money on that. I don't know. That's just my guess. It must be really, really expensive to implement this user experience feature. Otherwise, why Netflix is the only one?
No.
Tell me.
Because that's my question.
Yeah.
Amazon has $1 billion.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeffy B, get up there, pull some money out of your pocket and fix this experience. Give me a back 30 seconds button that works in Amazon Prime. Please.
Can they just copy what Netflix is doing?
Just copy paste it. I know you guys are on it. Come on.
No, but I seriously think it's gonna cost a lot of money. That's the whole reason they don't do it. Everything's related to your cost.
I'm just saying Disney there's no way that Disney makes less money and can portion that compared to Netflix.
I know, but Disney just don't think that will impact them to get the user because of their content.
You know, I wonder if like this is why Google has never really gone into this field, because they're just like, there's no point. Netflix got it. See what Amazon's tried. See what Disney tried. I mean, I guess like it's not that they're not failing. Like they're still making plenty of money from it. But like, I think that's why there's not like a Google streaming. I guess there's YouTube, but I mean,
yeah, really there's YouTube. But then I still thinking like as a streaming service, right? You need to have your own content. Like, you need to have your own good content.
But Netflix
plus
has
other license. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Netflix is doing great. And on the other hand, I do like Binge because it has its special shows on there as well.
Binge has a niche that it's filled for sure.
Definitely has a niche.
Which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah, and Disney Plus. Come on, they have Marvel and all the cartoons.
But that's the thing, like with Disney, okay, you're talking about...
They own Marvel, come on.
No, but you're talking about like, okay, but
they have the content. That's why they don't need to invest on the user experience. They even have Hamilton on there.
But I think that is like, that could be used as an excuse, is that they're kind of just like sitting on their hands, like saying, oh, well, we already have all this stuff, so we don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, maybe their strength is their content. That's why they don't want to...
Except when they make you pay $20 on top of your subscription to watch a movie.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. I don't know why.
That still rubs me the wrong way. That still rubs me the wrong way.
I think that's okay, to be honest.
We're veering very far away from the theme of our podcast. This has been a pop culture technology rant.
No, but seriously, I really hope the newcomer of the streaming service.
I don't think we need another newcomer.
No, but what I'm saying, the existing incumbent just copy paste Netflix. They're doing great. They have the best user experience. I don't know why. It's so strange.
Come on, Jeff. Iron Man, get your companies together. All right, just I don't know.
Why only Amazon Prime? Binge needs to catch up too. Binge and Disney Plus.
Who owns Binge? Is it? That must be like a
HBO. I think it's HBO.
Is it HBO? Okay.
Because a lot of HBO shows on there. Like I assume it's HBO. Could say like the Game of Thrones in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is that how you watched it? Oh no, never mind. We watched through a different method.
That's true.
This is a long time ago. There's probably a statute of limitations on that. So anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
So that's my first thing.
Sorry.
I hope everybody enjoyed our pop culture technology streaming service rant. That was not really part of the joyful thing.
As you can see, it really bothers us.
Really bothers. Okay. Hey, you. Yeah, you, the person consuming our joy. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. One hope we have with Our Three Things is to spread little bits of joy to everyone who listens, and not just from us. If you have something joyful in your life that you'd like to share, we'd love to highlight it on the show. You can send it to us at our3things.com/contact or email us directly at our3things.podcast@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying our happy ramblings, we'd really appreciate a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, and hearing the feedback means the world to us and helps spread the joy to even more people. All right, now, back to the things. Yuna, what is your second thing?
So my second thing, probably the people in Australia may relate to that. It's our 3-day long weekend.
Yes.
Maybe it's only New South Wales and West Australia.
I think it might be, actually. Because
Yeah.
we have like different Labor Days.
Yeah, we have different Labor Days in different states. So since we have the Labor Day on Monday, so we have these 3-day weekends, which we can relax a bit more and to focus on yourself. And I just think it's nice. Because normally when you have 2 days weekend, you spend 1 day to relax, recover from work, reset, and 1 day to do your housework, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you have 3-day weekends going forward. So after
Well, hang on.
housework and relax, and for the last day, you can just do whatever you like.
You're going into like a hypothetical joyful thing now. What you're saying would be lovely.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so that's why I'm really happy. And yeah, I just make it short and sweet.
I have a question for you on this conversation, because you mentioned, wouldn't it be nice if we always had 3-day weekends? If it was, I know there are some people who do this, but if it was an option like for your role, like for your job, would you want to do like a 4-day, 10-hour a day week?
4-day, 10 hour per week.
Yeah, so it's like in theory the same amount of like.
They pay me same amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think I would do that. So that means you just work from like until 8, right? I would do that. I'd rather have one more weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that. Why not? Or I start work early from like 7.
I know there are some countries like I didn't do any pre-research on this, but
I think it's some Scandinavian country.
Scandinavian country.
Scandinavian country.
You want to do some live research here? Hang on.
Yeah, I think it's you know what? I think when we approach retirement age, right, I would definitely work part-time and have 3-day weekend.
So, do you want to know something funny? I was trying to Google this so we could get some facts into our conversation here.
Yeah.
I just Googled 4-day work week. You know what the top our top article is here from Forbes? The title is COVID-19 may have killed the 4-day work week.
Why?
Do you want me to click in? Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, it would I could if I didn't have more than half of my page filled with ads right now. Okay. Thank you, Forbes. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna go on another mini rant here. I just clicked into this Forbes article to try and like have a bit of a conversation point for this topic. But first I got a full page, a half page like horizontal ad that just covered the whole content. Then I also had a ad on like the side, on the right side, that pushed all the content into like this little box in the corner. Then as I started to scroll down, another box came up from the bottom that said, "This is my 1 of 4 free articles."
Yeah.
Excuse me, Forbes. If you're going to give me all of these ads and then only also give me 4 free articles, you're really disincentivizing me from like continuing to read your page. I don't even care about this article anymore. I'm too mad at Forbes. Okay. Here's another ad now pushing on the other side.
I think they're trying to say something to you just to become our subscriber. We're trying to get rid of the ads. Is that the way?
They do say introducing the Forbes.com subscription, unlimited content, and improved ad experience, not ad-free experience.
Yeah, I think
improved ad experience.
I think that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to push you towards a subscription.
Okay, this article's not very interesting.
And get you annoyed with the ads.
Okay, I'm gonna close this. I'm sorry. Now it's like lagging because of all the ads. I thought Forbes was like a reputable site.
No, they're.
Whoa, hot take. Okay, no.
No. I just said that they in my memory, I thought Forbes just have the Forbes list of richest people in the world.
You know what?
Different regions.
I always kind of like
that's what's in my mind. What they do.
I think of Forbes as like one of like the most like trustworthy. I don't know why I have this in my head. It's just like
most trustworthy.
Not most trustworthy, but like one of like the big boys in terms of like news.
Really?
At least like, yeah. But then I realized when I actually think about it, that's the only thing I can remember like reading from them in like recent memory is like the Forbes top 50 or like the 30 under 30
that's
people.
what I remember as well. Maybe we're not educated enough on this topic.
I'm not educated enough about any topic, I think.
Okay.
Just in general.
Yeah.
Full stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have veered away again.
I know.
3 day long weekend.
But what I'm saying is like if you have 3 day long weekend in Australia, just make sure to wind down, enjoy yourself. And I know it sucks. We're still in lockdown, but sometimes it's just nice to have an extra day to do nothing.
That's true. Well said.
Yeah. So that's my second thing, short and sweet. What's your second thing, Matt?
So I apologize. I'm going back to potentially gross topic.
Very gross.
If you don't want to hear about,
you can just fast forward for 10 minutes.
If you don't 10 minutes. I don't think I have 10 minutes to say about this.
2 minutes.
That's a challenge. We'll keep it at 2. Okay. Here, how about let's do a timer here for this one. So we are at, let's see. So 30 seconds. Okay. So starting now, I'm going to stay under 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
My second thing is the potty plant.
Yeah.
Now, what is a potty plant? You may be asking, Yuna.
So.
Well, hopefully you're not asking me that because you should know what it is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
So it's basically, okay, so we live in an apartment and we have a dog, as everyone knows, our lovely Mocha, who stole a sock last weekend.
Yeah, who's a very adorable cavoodle.
He's adorable, mischievous little cavoodle.
Yeah.
And we do have like a garden we can take him down to, like in a little courtyard area within our building area. To go to the bathroom, but you can't do that all the time. Like what if it's like raining really hard, or what if it's like, middle of the night or something, or, anything. Sometimes you just don't want to go out. You just like don't want to get dressed to have to do that. So what's really useful that I found is that you can buy these like grass pads that are like real grass that they just like send you a refill of, and you put this in like a little frame, and you just put it out there, and like something about it being real grass is like triggers like an instinctual thing in dogs, I guess. Yeah. And so I actually used it to potty train him when he was really little, because we tried to use, they have like these like
synthetic grass.
Okay, hold on, I'm a minute in. I'm trying to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So we have like, there's like synthetic grass you can buy that like, it's, it's more for humans, I think, because I don't think dogs know what it is. Like they don't, just because it's green, they don't know what like it's supposed to be where they go to the bathroom. So I bought this, like, it's like a subscription thing, right? And it's called Potty Plant, which is a nice name.
It's fortnightly.
Yeah, fortnightly delivery. Well, for him, they can do more frequent if it's like a big dog or you have multiple dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made it very easy to potty train him outside, and now he rings a little bell when he wants to go outside, which was one of my favorite things we've trained him on. And he goes out there and goes to the bathroom, and it's no mess. Every 2 weeks they bring a new one. I replace it, and then you just like you can compost the old version in like the composting bin. Yeah. And I like the name Potty Plant because it's really clever and cute, and I am coming up on 2 minutes right now.
Right now. And do you know one of the most...
Yuna wants to extend the Potty Plant discussion. Okay.
And you know one of the most like feature I like about it is because when you use this Potty Plant subscription, this real grass, it actually absorbs the smell, the nasty smell.
It does, yeah.
Right? Because I remember the first time when we got Mocha from the breeder, she told us, we can use the synthetic grass you got from Kmart.
That was bad advice.
That's very bad advice because it's really hard to clean and it smells terribly. But since Matt discovered this new Potty Plant, it just makes our balcony experience so much better. Yeah. And I have to say, the Potty Plant people, they made the replacement so much easier. They provide all the gloves or the bags, so you can actually dispose them.
Yeah, they have like a nice liner inside too.
Yeah,
which is good.
so it's very, very, they have really good user experience, not like some streaming apps.
Now, that is a very unique burn that you're saying the user experience of a grass potty pad for your pet is a better user experience than your like streaming app
But what
from
I'm
a
saying,
major company.
But what I'm saying, just
That's a
such
burn.
a small things like you just need to be mindful for how your user feels when you think in their shoes, and they will thank you forever and become very loyal subscriber.
That's true. When I need to go out there and I want to like go back 30 seconds on my potty plant for Mocha, I just hit the button and he just like unpees so quick. There's no lag or anything. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're at 4 minutes total talking about this. I was within my time limit, so you can blame Yuna for this.
Yeah, blame me on that. So that's
No.
Matt's. Why you laugh?
That's my second thing. Don't steal my thunder.
That's what I said. That's Matt's second thing.
So that's my second thing. So, Yuna, this is
A coincidence?
I think this is the second time this has happened actually on the show.
No, is it?
We did, yeah. So we had the same thing for one of our things for the end of the Olympics, which I guess is a slightly different category because we talked about different things, but like the Olympics ending was like a thing that we shared.
Yeah.
This is now, for those keeping count at home, this is now the second of our things that we actually have the same one.
Yeah, and it's not planned.
For our third thing. And this was not planned. Yeah, so like taking a peek behind the curtain for a second at the man behind the mirror, the man and woman behind the mirror, I should say, we write up our three things on our note sheet separately. So like I don't look at what Yuna has put in, and I don't think she looks at what I put in.
No.
So this is a happy coincidence that our third thing, well, technically you're up next, but we can combine these.
Yeah,
so
let's combine this.
what is
What's
our third thing? What is our third thing, Yuna?
Okay, so it's a old show currently stream on binge called Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Texas Forever.
Texas Forever.
So tell me about Friday Night Lights. I have a reason I put this on the list.
Oh.
And I'll go into it, but you tell me first. Why are you watching it? What do you think of it? What's keeping you watching?
Okay, because the reason that kept me watching it, because I remember one day Matt saying, "Oh, I saw like a Friday Night Lights on binge now. You should watch it." And ask why I should watch it. And he said, "Oh, it's about you will understand Texas more, where I come from, by watching that show." I said, oh, "Okay, cool."
That's right.
Yeah. So that's what started me watching the show. But I remember when we first started watching the show, right? Because the show is about, I saw at first, it's all about the American high school football, which I have no idea about.
Yeah. I mean, it is,
football.
to be fair, it is like, that is sort of a backbone of the show.
Yeah, it
right?
is. But that's my first impression, right? But for me personally, I have no idea what's American football.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the rules. I wasn't a fan. So it doesn't spark much interest, right, when I first start watching it. And for the first two episodes, I remember like I was watching that with Matt on weekend night, and I was on my phone half of the time. So I literally didn't pay attention to much of the details on the show. So it didn't hook me up at first.
Okay.
But then I think there's one time I was starting just watching that as my background show when I was doing stuff. But then it's like when you're on treadmill, you start watching the show, and then because you don't have the distraction from your phone, right? So you're actually more focused on the content and the writing and the storylines and the castings, how they interact with each other, right? And they get me hooked up on. And I have to say, this show is really easy to watch. The writing is great, and the storylines is good, and the acting is good too.
Yeah.
So and every it's just and then it literally makes me get excited when the Dylan Panthers cross the line to score points. Makes me excited because now I can finally understand a little bit American football, and also it's like I finally understand what does a quarterback do. And before I saw a quarterback just a big dude on the football field, right? And then actually the quarterback has to be really strategic. And it's kind of like the captain of the team, right? And need to took the leadership and to think about the route to get the points. And then I also realized the coach is really important too. It's not only about to train with the team, but as well as he needs to be a role model for the team to look after their mind as well as their training. So it's like a father figure. And also another thing I realized, the football is a teamwork. You have to you have to work as a team. I think it's not like a one man show.
Yeah.
If you want to win, you have to work as a team to try your hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's and that hooks me up. And then to today, I finished season 1, and I really do want to continue watch the other seasons. And then I have to say, because I watch this show, I understand more why the football is a very important part of Matt's life, to watch the games. And I understand why it's so popular. And it's also very interesting to see a little town Dylan and how people interact and what they do, like with after football, or how they interact as people, how they social. It's just really interesting, and the writing is really good. A
lot of things to what you said. I mean, like, American football as a sport is interesting, I think, because it's not, for someone who has like no idea how the game works, it can be very strange to watch it. Like, I know, like, you're like a big basketball fan, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very easy, like, I'm not very knowledgeable about basketball. Like, I even like have trouble like why, when did they shoot one free throw versus two? Like, I don't know, like, or like, why was that a foul or whatever? Like, I'm very dumb with basketball.
Yeah.
But the core game of basketball, like, I can watch a full game and like I can understand the momentum shift and like who's like how you score points, and like it's very easy to just like watch the flow of a game.
Yeah.
Soccer is similar, actually. Like, I'm not a big soccer fan, but it's very easy to understand what's happening in the game. American football can be sort of like daunting, like kind of scary, right? If you don't know what's going, if you're just like, instead of you watching Friday Night Lights and was able to learn a little bit more about football through like a fiction story, like if I just like sat you down and made you watch from start to finish like an NFL game or something, you probably would just, your eyes would kind of roll back in the back of your head, or you'd just be looking at your phone the whole time.
Yeah, I think it's different when you watch the show, because it's kind of, it become a part of the town, Dylan.
It is,
and then you try to cheer behind your team, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah. So I have to ask.
So I understand like why because you grew up in a state or city that has this football culture, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
have your football team in your uni. I understand you want to root for your uni. Root for your uni, and I understand now why it's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The small town thing you're talking about too. Like, I didn't grow up in like a small town. I grew up in a suburb of Dallas.
Yeah.
So I could always like see the Dallas skyline, and like my suburb is like a bunch of suburbs, really.
Yeah.
So like our district, the way that they like grade districts, in at least in Texas, like school district, is based off of like size of the student bodies, basically.
Yeah.
And ours was like the biggest, like it was like the level 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that, like, if you go to like some of the small towns that are even smaller than Dillon in the show, like you might go to a school that, like, first of all, it's like there might be like one school for like, kindergarten all the way up to the senior year of high school. And you might be there with like 30 people the whole time.
Yeah.
That's like, there's like, they range in that size. You work for like, my graduating class was like 500 400, 500 people, something like that.
For high school?
For high school. And there's some high schools in Texas, I don't know, I can't remember which cities, but like there's some I know that are like closer to 700 or 800 in just the graduating class.
Yeah.
So there's a huge range.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's a lot of elements that they, and this is partly why I love the show so much.
Yeah. Why is your joyful thing?
Well, so yeah, I think we can just blend this conversation, just have a conversation about it. I mean, it's one of my favorite shows of all time for sure. In a different way than Seinfeld is, I think.
Okay.
Because I love the game of football. It's just like, and it's like, it's not even so much just that I love the game of football. Like I didn't actually play football.
Yeah, you
really.
didn't. You're just like audience, right?
I was an audience, but also like anyone who, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, you know, for someone who grows up in like some like northern parts of the US, they might feel this way about like hockey, for example. It's just like, even if you don't like play for like your school's team, like you're not like a star hockey player or something like that, just you being in a place where it's so important to the community,
you feel belong. You feel because you feel like the football brings everyone together.
Yeah, it's
you root for the same thing.
That's part of it. That's part of it. It's just like sort of like the fabric of your place, like your community.
Yeah, your community. Yes.
Yeah, like if you like grow up in like a coal mining town, like this maybe is like a kind of a weird analogy, but like if you grow up somewhere that the lifeblood of the community is like is mining. Or if you grew up like on a coastal town and it's like fishing, like going out on like a boat and catching fish or doing something like that is like, that's just like part of who it's like, it's a job and it's like how
part
financially,
of your identity.
But it's also part of, well, maybe not your identity, but at least it's like part of like your community's identity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like something that you can like attach yourself to, and it's like deep in you. Like for me with football, you know, again, I didn't play it really like that much, just except like casually with like friends occasionally. But just like, it was just part of my mindset. And so like, even when I've been away from it, because there's no American football really here in Australia. But it's still like, if I watch like a football game, I'll still get like I'll get chills sometimes. It's just like, it feels like it's like I'm watching something that's like a core part of myself.
Yeah, it's a core part of your experience when you grow up.
Like my narrative of my life is like part of that. Yeah,
it's part of you.
And there's so many positive memories attached to it, both in high school where I went and also at my university in Texas A&M University. Yeah. So that's definitely a part of it. And then like the show itself, like the writing is stellar, except for the season 2, which I told you about. Season 2 of the show was like during like the infamous writer's strike in the US during that year. I can't remember the exact year, but late 2000s. And you'll see as you watch, because you've only watched the first season, when you finish all 5 seasons, the arc, like the character arc of Coach Taylor, and his wife and his family, is honestly, like, I think the two of them, Coach Taylor and Tammy Taylor, his wife, have, of all the TV I've ever watched, they probably have the most
realistic couple.
Well, realistic, but also like realistic in a way that is like a goals like relationship, like husband and wife relationship. The way that like, and you'll see more of that. You saw a little bit of it in season 1, but you'll see a lot more of it. The way that they sort of like are able to like sacrifice
for each other,
for each other's dreams and goals. Yeah, is like very, very. It's like an example, I think, that like to follow. You know. I actually can't wait till you finish the show eventually, so then you can see what I'm talking about. But like that their dynamic is like a core of the show. I mean, Coach Taylor is like, if there's any main character of the show, which is hard to say if there is really, it's Coach. Yeah. Because he's like the constant throughout all 5 seasons. Yeah. Some of the other players, like the kids, like kind of come and go. Yeah. But he's like always there, him and Mrs. Taylor. And like there's such a core part of the show. They're written to be like such believable characters and real and empathetic and relatable, and you get mad at them sometimes for some of the stuff, like Coach Taylor doesn't make the smartest decisions either in terms of like, he can be a bit selfish in the show. Oh, really? But it's like in a realistic way. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, like I could talk about this show all day, honestly. I think like if I had to like pick a favorite character, it's definitely Coach, I think. So would you call this type of show drama? I think so. Yeah, that's probably the best word for it. It's just a straight up drama. Yeah. Yeah. It's really good. So if you haven't watched that,
give it a go and put your phone down. Try to watch a couple episodes. Maybe you'll get into that.
Okay, I have a quiz for you though,
Yeah.
because I know this was something that because you didn't there
I
there
don't
was
remember
no
the names.
there was no Chinese subtitles on the show.
No.
Well, you got ahead of me there because I was going to ask you.
I know you're gonna ask me the names.
Okay, let's do it this
Maybe
way.
I remember the names now.
Let's do it this way. How many names of the people in the town can you name for me?
A lot.
Okay, well tell me. So like give me some. Give me some of the characters and who they are.
Eric Taylor.
Okay. He's
Tammy
the coach.
Taylor.
We talked about him and
Julie
her. Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Matt Saracen.
Yeah. So who's he?
Oh, he's the new quarterback.
Yeah.
Jason Street.
Jason Street.
Jason Street.
Yeah, yeah.
The old quarterback.
Yeah. The guy who got injured in
Who
first
got
episode.
injured first episode, and his girlfriend is
Well,
Lila.
Girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Lila Gibson.
Garrity.
Lara Garrity.
Yeah.
His dad is Rob Garrity.
Oh, I don't remember his dad's name.
I think it's Rob.
That's impressive.
And another football player, Smash Williams.
Yeah.
And the Team Jiggers.
Riggins.
Tim Riggins.
Tim Riggins, yeah.
Tim Riggins and his ex-girlfriend Tara.
Yeah. What about Matt's friend?
Matt's friend.
It's a very non-standard name, I think. So it might be hard for you to get the name. It's the redhead kid.
And I remember who you said.
Do you want me to tell? His name is Landry.
Landry, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Landry, yeah.
You know what's funny too about this is kind of a side note, but like the actor who plays Landry, like you recognize who he is, right?
Yeah, he's in the what's that movie called? Some Maze?
Maze.
Oh,
I don't know about that. We watched him in Game Night recently.
yeah, he was in the Game Night, but
Yeah.
he's also in the teenage science fiction Running Maze, something.
Maze Runner?
Maze Runner.
Was
yeah.
he really? Oh, I
He's
didn't know
in Maze
that.
Runner. He's
The-
one of the kid.
The funny thing about him, he's that actor. I think I've actually seen him in more things. Like of all the people in Friday Night Lights,
Yeah.
maybe with the exception of the guy who plays Tim Riggins, because I've seen him in a couple things too, Taylor Kitsch. But the guy who plays Landry, I think I've seen him in more stuff, like more shows and movies since
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights, compared to all the rest of the
yeah,
actors.
he is the face I recognize.
And he plays some like really weird characters in other shows too, right? Like
Yeah.
other movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only time, like I think I've only seen Coach Taylor in like.
Game Night. I want to
In-
see that in there.
And like, yeah, actually like Coach and Tammy, I think I've seen her in something too, but again, like not in like really serious roles, which I've been surprised about. Like, cause I feel like they're embody that character so well in Friday Night Lights, but I guess they hasn't translated to other good roles. I don't know.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're on the shows, it's just hard.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like, you know, that probably speaks to how good the casting was in this show too.
Yeah.
Right. Cause everyone is so past, like so perfect for what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, my main joyful thing with this is not so much the show itself, although it's nice to watch it again, is also like hearing you talk about the show.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things of all the shows and like media and stuff that I enjoy, this was not one of the ones I would have expected you to like enjoy so much.
Oh,
so
really?
it makes me really happy to see.
Okay, that's good.
Because this show is very Texas. Like there's a lot of exaggerations in it, but it's very representative of Texas, like at least of small town Texas, and the
Yeah.
football aspect and like being a teenager in that day and age
Yeah.
in Texas. So
But I have to say, the storyline's good, the writing's good.
oh yeah, the writing is fantastic.
And like, if watching this show would help me to understand, like where you grew up and the culture there. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up. This might end up being our new longest episode because we talked for Friday Night Lights for a while.
Oh, is it?
And also our long rant about app streaming services.
No, they really need to fix it.
They really, they do really need to fix it. That is true.
They do.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to our 3 things this week. We'll be back next week as always with more 3 things.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention, I haven't mentioned in a while, is we also have a YouTube channel for the show. So I upload all of the full audio of the episodes there. So if you prefer to listen on YouTube, I know not everyone likes to listen to like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything.
Yeah.
You can subscribe to our Three Things. It's the same name, the YouTube channel. There's all the full episodes there. I'm also in the process of going back through our older episodes and putting up what I think are some of like the fun highlights that we've talked about in the past. So we've got like P-Mails in there. We've got Daniel on there. I think we have one from last week actually. So yeah, go and check that out. I'll put a link of that in the show notes as well in case you want to check it out and throw a subscribe on there. But yeah, anything else today, Yuna?
No.
Cool. All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up then, and we'll see everyone again next week for more joyful things.
Yeah.
But before we go,
remember, our fourth thing
is you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
手中要个神话，刀锋千转蜿蜒成花，生命中的他是桥旁萌出人家，穿过绕过发梢红纱，刺绣灯塔，眉目刚的那座庄稼，红人流沙枕上白发。